Week 2 government. This is really what we covered in week 3, but we're calling it week 2 because week 2 was just kind of all, week 1 was kind of setting the stage. Week 2 was reviewing what we learned in week 1, etc. So what we had to do, this is going to be over chapter 9's information. And I'm going to cut this into 3 parts if I can do it, because you know I'm technologically challenged, okay? So the 3 parts are, the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to do the flashcards that we did in class to see if you guys know them. The flashcards always helps me review, so if you feel like I really know all the flashcards, because we're going to have a quiz this week, so if you feel like I really know all the flashcards, I don't need them, you can skip to part 2 if you want to, if you're confident. So this is going to be flashcards, and we're just going to kind of go over a little bit of that. Hopefully it'll be about 10 minutes. Let me look at my clock, 12:39. Okay. All right. Now, the number 1 we went over in class. Who elects the president? All right. Is the answer all the people? No. The answer is what? The electors. Okay. The electors elect the president. What did I put under there? Oh, the Electoral College. So what we do is in Texas, we have more electors than we do in Rhode Island. Okay. So, and we're here in Texas. So in Texas, we're going to have more electors because we have a larger population. So we're going to take all of our members that are in the House of Representatives, and then we're going to have 2 electors for this because in the Senate, everybody only has 2. And we're going to combine them, and that's the amount of electors we have. So we're going to have more electors in Rhode Island that'll have 2 electors because they have 2 in the Senate, but then they also have a smaller number in the House. So they're going to have their total number in the House and Senate. We're going to have our total number in the House and Senate. And when we cast our ballots, we are actually charging the electors, okay, this is how Texas voted, so you go now and you vote. So if Texas voted 51% to go to Romney and 49% to go to Obama, then all the electors from Texas should have voted, put their vote in for Romney, okay? Majority takes all. Not every state is like that. In some states they split, but most of the states are like that. All right. Second one. What is the number of electors per state? We already just talked about that. It's the number you have in the House and the Senate combined. That's how many you have in your state. Okay. What is an executive order? All right. And I'm showing the flashcards because some of you guys are visual and some of you are auditory. So whichever way you learn is fine with me. All right. So what's an executive order? When the president declares something to be law. So the president just says, all right, by executive order, this is what it is. Recently, with immigration, President Obama knew he couldn't get a bill passed through the Congress because it's a largely Republican Congress. The majority of the people in the United States don't want illegal aliens just to be made citizens. You know, it's very divided, our nation, and most Republicans don't. So, because we want, clear boundaries and all that kind of stuff, come in legally and all that kind of stuff. So, he just made an executive order that they're not going to deport a lot of people that are coming in, really from all parts of the world, not just from Mexico, but from all parts of the world. And he put rules in place where they can have a path to citizenship. And he didn't allow it to go through Congress. He just did it by executive order, okay? So that's just, he declares something to be law. That's an executive order. How many years is the president elected for? Hopefully you guys will know that one. For 4 years. And then he can be reelected again for another 4 years. This wasn't always the case, but now it is by amendment. All right. What is a pardon? All right. Most famous pardon, of course, is Ford's pardon of Nixon. And I've told you guys that joke about Ford and Nixon meeting each other in the hallway in the White House. And Nixon bumps into Ford and he says, pardon me. Get it, Ford, pardon Nixon. So anyway, yeah. So it's legal forgiveness. So even if you did the thing, if the president pardons you, you're off. If you're on death row and you really did murder 20 people and the president pardons you, you're forgiven. That means you're legally forgiven. We can't retry you, okay? And he always does pardon people at the last minute, a lot of times before he leaves office. People that are very controversial, but always a certain number of people he pardons. Bill Clinton made this famous because he pardoned a lot of really kind of shady people right before he left office, and he just kind of pushed all these pardons through. So what is a pardon? Legal forgiveness. Good. All right, when can the president not grant a pardon? Forgive my sloppy writing there. The president can't grant a pardon when it has to do with what? You guys knew in class? It has to do with impeachment, okay? So in cases of impeachment, president doesn't have all, fully able to just pardon anybody if it's impeachment. And also, U.S. versus Nixon. This was in your book, and I think it's important to know under the executive branch. U.S. versus Nixon was the case that decided that presidents do not have unlimited immunity, so they can't just be immune to everything, as well as because presidents had immunity, but anyway, they don't have unlimited immunity. That means you can't say, president, you can't be tried for anything. You don't just have immunity. It's not unlimited. So anyway, we'll talk about that more in class, but it's limited immunity. Certain things they don't have to be taken to court for, but certain things they will be. All right? And then they can't grant a pardon in cases of impeachment. So if President Nixon was actually impeached, if he hadn't resigned from office, then he couldn't have pardoned him. Okay, that would have had to go through the proper channels. Can the day of the presidential election be changed? The answer is no, can't. Nope. It's very clear in the Constitution. Who was it? Somebody in the class that was saying it's the Tuesday after the first Monday, after the first Monday in November, or maybe it's second or third. I got to look it up. But anyway, somebody in class knew it. And in the year that's evenly divided by 4. So it's very clear in the Constitution the day of the election. It cannot be changed. The 12th Amendment changed how we vote for president and vice president. And my question is how? All right, how did that happen? Well, we used to vote for president and vice president together, but one of the elections, of course, that didn't turn out so good. Because, if you have two people and they both have the same amount of votes, then what makes the vice president not go, hey, why can't I be president? They have the same amount of votes. So that's not good. So now you have to say where you're running. I'm, Bill Clinton and I'm running for president. I'm Al Gore, I'm running for vice president. So now you can't just... you can't just say, hey, well, we're tied. I want to be president, okay? Now, in cases of a tie or if something happens or if somebody doesn't get majority vote, it goes to the Congress and the House of Representatives decides on the president and the Senate decides on the vice president. So we have it all worked out in the 12th Amendment now, what will happen. All right, qualifications for president. We've talked about this a lot, and I expect you guys to know this. So you have to be 35 years. You have to have lived in the United States for 14 of the 14 years, and you have to be a natural-born citizen. All right. You have to reside in the U.S. I was looking already 7 minutes and 53 seconds, so I'm a lot slower than I think. What does it mean when the president is impeached? You guys remember what that is? When a president is impeached, and they have to do something really wrong. When is removed from office for high crimes like treason. That means impeached. Okay? So the president can be impeached if he does something extremely wrong and he needs to be. All right, majority party. When I say majority party, what does that mean? That means the party that's in power. So if in your room you have 12 people and 7 of them are on one team and 5 of them are on the other team, then the people that have 7, obviously, the team, that's the majority. So that's the same thing as a majority party. So the Democrats in the House of Representatives used to be the majority party. When they were, Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House. That means the top dog of the Senate, okay? Of the liberals. Sorry, of the Democrats. Sorry, can't think. And the minority leader, the Republicans would have been in the minority and had a minority leader, which was John Boehner. Well, then when the Republicans were elected to, the majority in the House of Representatives, when we had that election, 2 years after President Obama got in office, all of a sudden John Boehner became the Speaker of the House and Nancy Pelosi, minority party, became just the minority party leader, okay? There's also a minority party whip and a majority party whip. But that's what it means, a majority party. We're the party in the majority. All right? President pro tem, what does that mean? To be a president pro tem. Ooh, this is going to be longer than 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this into 2 parts, okay? 10 minutes, I'll stop. All right, president pro tem, that means the acting president of the Senate. So right now, The president pro tem is Harry Reid. He's the acting president of the Senate. He's a Democrat. The Democrats are in charge. He is the acting president. The real president of the Senate, remember there's 2 houses of Congress. The real president of the Senate is the vice president of the United States. And who is that? I know you knew this, Joe Biden. He's the president, but usually he only comes over in times of if there's a tie. Usually he's not involved much. All right, go to part 2.